Merry Christmas, everyone. It is currently December 22nd, but I'm filming this for December 23rd. This is a little sequel to what I've already done for A Christmas Carol. We were going to go through Miracle on 34th Street today by Valentine Davies. I couldn't find the novella that came out the same time as the 1947 movie, but I was able to find I think like this play adaptation, so I'll kind of like skim through that and y'all can just relax and listen to my voice as I do so. Um but yeah, so we're going to go through this. I'm not sure how long this is going to be or if I skip around like the first time, but thought I'd give it a shot. I actually hadn't seen this movie until today, and it's a really good one. So if you're like me and you've heard of Miracle on 34th Street your whole life but haven't watched it, it's cool. It's literally about taking Santa to trial because the adults don't believe he's Santa, but the kids do. It's very good. Um, so yeah, let's jump into it. And you should be able to see my screen as I'm reading this time. If you don't, it's because something went horribly, terribly wrong. And am I recording? It looks like I am. So let's go for it. Okay, Miracle on 34th Street by Valentine Davies. Setting, Thanksgiving Day in New York City. The story ends on Christmas Day. Act 1, Scene 1. Scene, Chris, a little old man dressed in an overcoat and carrying a cane, walks down the street toward the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. He stops in front of a small store and looks in the window. Chris says to a shopkeeper who's decorating a store window from the inside of the shop, "You've got them mixed up. You're making a mistake. You're making a mistake with the reindeer. Would you mind stepping out for a moment? Open the door." The storekeeper, opening the door cautiously. "I'm sorry, the store isn't open today." "I don't want to buy anything, and I'm sorry to interrupt your work, but I wanted to tell you you're making a serious mistake. You've got Cupid where Blitzen should be, and Dasher should be on my right-hand side." "He should, huh?" "Yes, and another thing. Donder, I think that should be Donner. Donder's antlers have got 4 points instead of 3. Still, I don't suppose anybody would notice except myself." "No, I don't suppose so. Well, bye. Thanks. Glad to have helped you. Bye." So basically, a bunch of stuff happens, and we find out that this guy, Chris Kringle, probably is Santa, and he does all this stuff, and then he ends up coming up, meets a little girl, blah, your Santa Claus is intoxicated. Oh yeah, the Santa Claus is intoxicated. Da 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 da. Then they're at the apartment. Doris and Cleo. Oh yeah, Cleo's the housekeeper. Da da da. We meet Fred, who's a lawyer. Here, we'll read a bit of this. "Your mother and father must have told you a fairy tale." "No, my mother thinks they're silly. I don't know whether my father thinks they're silly or not. I never met my father. My father and mother were divorced when I was a baby." "Well, that baseball player looks like a giant to me." "People sometimes grow very big, but that's abnormal." "I'll bet your mother told you that too." "Hello, I'm Susan's Oh, whoops, that was Susan and not Doris. Doris should sound like an adult. "People sometimes grow very big, but that's abnormal." Yeah, basically, Fred's this guy, and he's super cool, and everybody loves him, and I think he's a lawyer. So we get introduced to, like, the family characters, and then there's this other guy who's like, oh, because Miss Walker, I think, Doris works for Macy's, and it's the whole thing, and they're like, "Oh man, the Santa was in our Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Let's hire him into the department store." And it's like, da da da. And then he's like, "What do you want for Chris? What do you want for Christmas, Peter?" And Peter's like,
"A fire engine, just like the big ones, only smaller, that has a real hose that squirts real water. And I won't do it in the house, only the backyard, I promise."
and then a woman's like, "Psst, psst, Macy's ain't got any. Nobody's got any." So, like, they're all like, Macy's is like sold out and stuff, and it's wild and stuff. But Santa, even though he's, or sorry, Chris Kringle, even though he's told to try and like sell other stuff, he's like, "Hey, hey, 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 just go to these other stores." And it's like really nice of him. No one expects him to do it, but he does it anyway because he's Santa Claus. And then we skip through. They all think that there's something mentally wrong with him because he acts and behaves as if he's Santa. And so he gets like he gets these like mental sort of evaluations and all these things, and then even Mr. Macy himself is like, oh no, this is great, this is like what the real Santa would do, this is going to be great for business, blah blah blah. Yeah, and then there's all this doubt. They want to get rid of Santa Claus. There's all this stuff. Oh man, and there's like a bad guy therapist or psychiatrist or psychologist. They kind of call him every word of those. And he's really mean, and there's like another side character named Alfred, and he's like lying to him and like tricking him into thinking that he has mental issues when he doesn't, and he's like, you hate your father. And then Kris Kringle, like, Alfred goes to Chris and he's like, honestly, let's give some props where props are due. Alfred in the original 1947 movie is great. Don't know what he went on to do, but he was honestly my favorite actor in that movie. He did some great work. And he like opens up to Chris about this, and Chris is just like, what? I have a few choice words. And then ends up going and confronting the psychiatrist. He bonks him in the head with his cane. And then the psychiatrist is just like, oh, he needs to be fired. He needs to be put in an institution. And then they end up putting him in an institution because he fails Kris Kringle finally fails the medical exam, but on purpose, because he's lost his faith because other people don't have faith in him and in each other. And it's very touching. And now we're in Act 2, and then Fred's basically like, I believe in Christmas. I'll save you, Chris. And because he really is like into Doris, who's like the main girl, and her daughter Susan is one of his best friends, probably only friend by standards of this movie. And then then the judge is brought in, and the judge is like, oh no, I have this whole career and I don't want to ruin it because of a Santa case. And then his advisor's like, well, you should, because if you do not, then I don't really remember. That part was kind of unclear. Oh yeah, he says exactly this. He's like, why don't you? All right, tell them the New York State Supreme Court rules there's no Santa Claus. It's all over the papers. The kids don't hang up their stockings. Now what happens to all the toys that are supposed to be in those stockings? Nobody buys them. The toy manufacturers are going to like that, so they have to lay off a lot of their employees, union employees. Now you got the CIO and the AFL against you. They're going to adore you for it. They're going to say it with the votes. The department stores, yeah, so the judge is like up for an election and all this stuff. Da-da-da-da. Basically, it all leads up to this big climactic moment. Oh, I forgot the best part. The best line in the whole movie is, he's like, Fred, who's the lawyer, is like, because I've decided to prove Santa Claus is real, or something, and everyone like gasps, and it's amazing. It's the best line in the whole movie, and he says it in court, and they're like hush whispers, like, but anyway, so I don't suppose you even want to talk to me. Something about a present. Yes, I know. I'm sorry, Susan. Da-da-da. Oh, whoops. I accidentally skipped past the whole climax. Basically, they bring in all these letters because they were all written to Santa, and Fred is like, oh, post office system has never failed, right? You're all God-loving American citizens. And they're just like, that's correct, we are God-loving American citizens. And he's just like, well, checkmate. And then he has like a bunch of post office people bring in bags and bags of letters and pour it out on the judge's desk, and he's just like, what you think about that, Your Honor? What you think about all these letters to Santa? And the judge is just like, yeah, so since the US government recognizes this man as Santa Claus, he might as well be. And then bang, he's like, case dismissed. And everyone's like, oh, wow. Ooh, Miracle on 34th Street. Boom, Christmas classic. And that's about it. And then the two main characters, of course, hook up because they have to get in that last forced kiss at the end. It's literally like, here, let me see the line. I never really doubted you. It was just my silly common sense. It even makes sense to believe in me now. I must be a pretty good lawyer. I take a little old man and legally prove that he's Santa Claus. Now you know that. Oh yeah, and they get a house for the little girl, because the little girl was like, I want a house for my mommy, please. And Santa Claus is like, That's a tall order, kid, but I guess I'll try. And then, of course, he pulls it off because he's Santa. And then Doris is like, oh no, it can't be when they see the cane. It must have been left by the people that moved out. And Fred's like, maybe. And maybe I didn't do such a wonderful thing after all. The end. And that's Miracle on 34th Street. The miracle is Santa Claus. So if you're like me and I've never seen this movie and wondered what it was, the miracle is Santa Claus. And also all the parents believing in Christmas and Santa. And it's a very wholesome movie. It's very dated. Like, it feels almost stylistic in a very, 1940s black and white film kind of way. But it was heartwarming. And it had a lot of cool themes of, like, faith and just, like, I was about to sing Don't Stop Believing by Journey, but I know on YouTube that can get you arrested, so I won't. But anyways, Merry Christmas in a couple days, or Merry Christmas already, depending on when you're watching this, or Merry Christmas a few days ago, or Merry Christmas last year, or Merry Christmas a few months from now, all depending on when you watch this. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you so much for the suggestion. Russell, this was a comment, by the way. This whole video happened because someone wanted to see it, and they made a comment on the video. So if you want to be able to do the same, go down below, comment a suggestion or something you want to see, and I just might do it for you. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year. I'll see you guys tomorrow.